Hello, and Happy New Year to everyone. This marks the very first episode of 2022. I just want to take a brief moment to tell you all thank you from the bottom of my heart, everyone that has listened to any of my podcast episodes, anyone that has visited my website, badchickhair.com, anyone that is subscribed to my YouTube channel or watches my YouTube channel. I want to give you all a huge thank you. I also want to thank those that have been on the podcast. Last year, we had multiple entrepreneurs come on and share their journey, and it is truly inspiring to hear the stories of other entrepreneurs. Everyone has a different journey. Everyone goes through different obstacles. And although being in an entrepreneur role, a lot of times when you're speaking with other entrepreneurs, you'll find that some of the obstacles that you are faced with are very common. Meaning that a lot of entrepreneurs may face some of the same obstacles. However, it's so intriguing, like I mentioned before, the differences in what we go through and what we are able to learn from our experiences. So I'm so grateful for everything that we have been through last year, everything that we're going through this year. And I'm just grateful to be in this position to be able to connect with other entrepreneurs and continue to share my journey and also learn from your journeys as well. So with that being said, thank you again. I have a new podcast episode coming today. Now, today what I want to talk about is I want to talk about more. Okay, so occasionally I hear some people saying, I gave it all that I had. So what else is there to do? I gave my business everything that I had. I invested all of the money that I could into it. I looked into all of the resources that were applicable, so I thought, for my business. I've tried all the different avenues that are promoted and nothing's happening. So I decided to give up. That is a reality for a lot of different entrepreneurs. And so what I want to title this podcast, I want to title it something along the lines of, you gave it all you had, but wait, there's more. So I'm going to be talking about that today. I want to talk about some other things that we can try when we feel like we have tried everything there is to try, when we feel close to throwing in the towel, when we feel like there's nothing else that we can do, because realistically, a lot of us feel like that sometimes in different aspects of our life, whether it's our business life, whether it's something that we're going through in our personal life. But a lot of us sometimes feel defeated, and it's okay to feel that. I want to just put that out there. It's okay to feel like I've tried everything that I can and it's not working. That does not mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you're incompetent. It doesn't mean that you're not smart. It just means that right now we're needing to kind of go back to the drawing board and see what other alternatives or options there are, what other avenues and pathways there are that we can continue to move down or move towards so that we can actually reach what it is we're trying to reach, our goals. So I'm going to be talking about that today in today's podcast episode. Like always, share the podcast with a friend, family member, or another entrepreneur out there. Share it on your social media. You can share this podcast via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can share it via text message or email. But share. We want to get the word out to as many entrepreneurs as we can, not just because I want everyone to hear the podcast, which I do, but not just because of that. I also want to share the journeys of other entrepreneurs that have been on the podcast and entrepreneurs that are going to be on the podcast. So do me a favor and share this with at least 2 people. I know we can do that. Let's go ahead and share it. And without further ado, we're going to get started in just a moment. I do want to welcome you all back to the Brittney Bundles podcast. I'll be back in just a moment. All right. So I am back. And again, today we're talking about you gave it all you had, but wait, there's more. So when we're feeling like we've done all we can do, what else can we do next? So I want to talk about that for a little bit. And the first thing that I want to point out is standing still. Standing still. So a lot of times as entrepreneurs, I know for myself, just speaking on a personal note, when I feel like I'm defeated or when I feel like something isn't going the way that I intended it to go, my mind kind of goes in like overdrive. right? Like I'm constantly thinking of, okay, what else do I need to do? What else can I done? Okay, well, I've already done this. I've already did this. I've already looked into this. So what else can I do? What else can be done? And I start really thinking very fast. And sometimes I feel like, I've already circled on all of the options that are populating in my mind at that point. And so what I've learned to do over the years is to stand still. Now, with that being said, standing still does not mean that we're going to sit still and not do anything ever, that we're just going to stand still and pretty much let our time pass us by. It doesn't mean that we're going to stand still and let opportunities pass by either. But what it means is that we're going to stand still long enough to center ourselves, to give ourselves credit for the things that we've actually have done, for the place that we are currently in. And we're going to be still long enough to generate new ideas. Now, as easy as that may sound, in reality, it can be challenging. I'm not going to even front or lie about that. It can definitely be challenging to stand still. But that's something that I have been challenging myself on doing, and it's something that has been working. What has helped me work towards standing still is constantly reminding myself quality over quantity. So a lot of times when we start to feel like we've done everything we can do and we start to really go into this hyper overdrive mode where we have to do something to save our business or have to do something to save a certain maybe issue or circumstance in our personal life, we can start just overthinking things. And a lot of times when you're overthinking things, you don't have the best thoughts or the best thinking process at that specific time. And you can start pushing things and wanting things to happen. And, it may even feel like you're forcing things to happen and that you're producing things, you're putting things out, especially for your business. You may feel like, well, I haven't gotten any sales, so I'm just going to post all day and flood everyone's timelines until I get a sale. And you can do that. But what I want to remind all of us to consider is quality over quantity. So instead of going into overdrive and producing so much content, whether it be via YouTube or on Instagram or whatever you're doing for your business, let's focus and make sure that the quality is actually there. And not just that, but making sure that we're taking advantage of all of the work that we're doing. So for example, let me give you what I'm going through, just as an example to the topic that I'm on right now. So if you've been watching my YouTube channel, my YouTube is Brittney Bundles. So all of you that are subscribed and have watched my videos, I truly appreciate you all. I want to give you all a thank you again. If you watch that channel of mine, then you know that I post very frequently. Last year, I was posting a video every single day, and I may go back to that this year as well. But every time I recorded a video, I would make sure that it met my quality standards. Never claimed to be the best editor. I am working towards that every day. Never claimed to be the best content creator, but I'm working toward, becoming my best every day. But I would produce a video every single day. And although the quality met my quality standards, I wasn't taking advantage of making sure that I promoted that video as much as I could. So what I've tried to do this year is I've posted a video and I waited. I stood still. I'm currently standing still, and I'm making sure that I promote that video as much as I can within a 1 to 2 day time frame before I post another video. Now, what that is doing is that is helping me work smarter, not harder, because I'm still able to get people to view my content and my channel, but I'm not pushing so many videos out at once where people aren't getting the opportunity to watch the video that I put out the day before. So I'll go into more depth with that later on in some other podcasts or maybe even on my YouTube channel. So make sure that you're following the podcast and my YouTube channel. But I really saw a difference in the growth doing that. So I've noticed that I've started to get more, not just views on my overall YouTube platform, but also people have been watching my videos for a longer duration, which if you are monetized on YouTube, the longer people watch and the more ads they're sitting through, the more money you're making. So it has been a eye-opener for me, just a reminder to not necessarily stop my content or stop the momentum, but making sure that I'm actually looking at quality over quantity. And although the video quality is up to my standards, I'm also looking at quality in terms of how am I promoting that specific video? Am I doing all that I can before I put something else out? So that's my first tip, standing still and remembering quality over quantity. The next thing that I want to go over is challenge yourself to push limits for progressive things that may be uncomfortable. So this year, around this time, a lot of people are coming up with their New Year's resolutions. And if you were following this podcast last year, I did an episode titled New Year, Same Mind. There are a lot of people that get so excited when the new year comes. I'm one of them. I thank God every time I get to see a new day, let alone another year. Or at least I try to remember to do that. But back to what I was saying, I lost my train of thought for just a moment. But, people get excited when a new year comes, and, that's right to do so. However, a lot of people get so excited that they set these resolutions that they never really intend to carry through with. I mean, it sounds good. It looks good to go ahead and post it. It sounds good. It looks good to talk about it. But it really takes a different type of person to move toward what it is they're proclaiming. It goes back to that saying, talk is cheap. You can say whatever, but if you're not backing up what you're saying, it's like, what are you saying it for? So challenge yourself to push past limits for progressive things that may be uncomfortable. So with New Year's resolutions, a lot of times the resolutions are set for things that may seem uncomfortable or other people, may not want to do. So it may be something like, I'm going to exercise every day this year. And although it may be uncomfortable, it's something that's progressive. Someone may say, and again, I don't want to get too technical with the exercise thing. I do know that you have to allow your muscles to rest and things like that, but I'm just giving you a general example. So don't take it literal when I give you the example as far as exercising. But I'm just, wanting to put an example out there. So for business, it can be something like, I'm going to make sure that I'm reaching out to at least 5 people each day for this year. And it may be uncomfortable to do, but it's something that's going to push you past your comfortability. And a lot of times when we're pushed past our circle or our box or what is familiar to us or normal to us, that's when we tap into new opportunities. We tap into new pathways that we haven't crossed before. And it opens new doors in a lot of circumstances. So there are a lot of us that feel like we've done everything we can do. But we feel like that because we know subconsciously and sometimes consciously too, that there's more we can do. We just don't want to do it. Well, I know that I can reach out to 5 people, but I really don't want to because I'm not comfortable doing that. I know that I can sign up for this pop-up shop, but I'm not going to do it because I really don't know anyone else that's signing up for the pop-up shop. Or I know that I can create a video advertising my products and services, but I'm not going to do it because I don't like talking to a camera. Now, I'm not saying do anything that you absolutely hate doing, but I am challenging you to push yourself past what you consider normal. Push yourself past what you've already tried. And be willing to try something new if you do want a new outcome. Sometimes the difference between us actually reaching what it is we're wanting to reach is trying something new. Just trying something new. And of course, whenever you try something new, there's going to be, in a lot of us, uncertainty, fear. I was going to say doubt, but that kind of ties in with uncertainty. There may be, there may be some, there are going to be some things that just aren't comfortable sometimes, but it's all for the greater good. It's all for the progression of your business. So that's the second tip that I wanted to point out. Now, the third tip that I want to point out, if you feel like you've given it your all and you're like, well, what else can I do? Partner up for ideas, peer up. Now, I'm someone where I enjoy working by myself a lot of times. I do. I do enjoy partnering with other entrepreneurs as far as doing like interviews and working on different projects. But for the majority of the time with my business, I work alone. When I go to the post office, I'm typically going alone. When I am responding back to emails, I'm typically responding back to emails alone. Like I don't have a partner that's responding back with me. When I am creating different YouTube videos, I'm typically creating videos alone by myself. I don't have like a collaboration ongoing partner that I'm collaborating with for a lot of my videos. So One thing that is helpful is pairing up for ideas. I've noticed that when I have paired up with different entrepreneurs on different projects, different ideas started to just like flow. Like times that I thought that was nothing else that I could do, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm tapped out of ideas. When I started speaking with another entrepreneur and pairing up, more ideas started to flow. Now, that's just me. I'm not saying that the same experience will happen for you, but I would challenge you to try it because it has worked for me and it has worked for other entrepreneurs as well. The next tip that I'd like to point out is prayer. So praying. I know this may sound cliche and some people may say, well, okay, what else can I do besides pray? But I'm just going to be honest and keep it as real as I possibly can. And like I talk about in a lot of my podcast episodes, it's really hard to talk about like truth and progression without mentioning God and without talking about praying. A lot of times prayer gives you clarity. When you've gone to everyone else and asked their opinion, or when you have jogged your memory and your mind and your creativity and you still aren't coming up with anything, one thing that helps me while I'm standing still is to pray about it and to specifically ask God for what it is I'm looking to do. So if I'm looking to increase the revenue for my business, I'm going to pray about that. I don't feel too mighty to pray. I don't feel like I just have it all figured out, so I'm not going to ask, but I'm going to ask God to show me what I need to do to be in better position for my business. I've done that multiple times, especially when the pandemic first started. I was in a prayer group, on a prayer call through my grandmother's church. And I remember just being very transparent and vulnerable on that call, letting them know everything I was going through with my business. And I was really nervous at that point because I never had experienced anything that was like that, where I've noticed such a big decrease in my sales. And during that time, that was before unemployment kicked in. That was before any of the PPP loans. That was before, anyone really knew what they were going to do for income. That was around the time a lot of people were getting laid off from their jobs. So as a domino effect, people weren't working. People didn't know what was going to happen. Again, that was before unemployment. That was before people were able to apply for PPP loans. And my sales slowed down. Like people were not purchasing hair like they used to purchase. So I was thinking like, what can I do? And I prayed about it. And I was blessed with the idea of creating an ebook. And I kid you not, I wrote an ebook literally in a night. And I give all of the glory to God for that. I wrote all of everything that I wanted to put in my ebook, not just an outline, but I wrote the ebook in one night. And I went ahead and of course I had to get it proofread and things like that to actually get it ready to sell. But I was just so thankful for that. And that helped me, not just the ebook, but the ebook and other services that I started to do really helped supplement the income that I lacked with my hair sales. And I made a video on my YouTube channel about how I was able to make money through the pandemic. And I looked at God and I was really in awe and shock, and it really boosted my level of faith because I was able to see again that God had me, although it seemed like there was no other way and I didn't really know how I would survive and be able to continue to take care of my children. God made a way. He put ideas and he put creativity into me, and I was able to bring those ideas and that creativity into reality and actually get paid for it. So I don't take entrepreneurship lightly. I don't take my journey lightly at all. And I'm not someone that's embarrassed when I hit a point in my journey or a roadblock in my journey that doesn't go as smooth as I wished it would have gone, because all of the things that I go through, I understand that it's preparing me to be even a greater person and entrepreneur than I am now. So prayer. Don't ever be afraid to pray for what it is you want. God already knows what you want anyways. Whether you're like, I don't want to ask or I don't want to pray, he already knows. So we might as well just be open and vulnerable and have a conversation with him. Let him know what we're going through, what our fears are, and he cares about what we care about. So don't ever think that just because it's a business or other people may consider your business to be a small business, or you may even consider your business to be, a little business in your mind. Don't ever assume that God looks at what you're concerned about as something little, because God truly does care about our peace. He truly does care about our business, and he cares about what's important to us. So prayer is something that I would recommend doing when you feel like you've given it all you have. There's still more. If you have not prayed, I definitely recommend doing that. And the last thing that I want to recommend is interacting with groups, clubs, or just with other entrepreneurs in general. So if you have been following my YouTube channel, I know I've been saying that throughout this podcast. So hint, hint, if you're not following me on YouTube, please do so. As soon as you get done with it, well, actually just pause the podcast right here. I'll still be here when you get back, but pause it and go to YouTube, type in Brittney Bundles and click subscribe, and also turn on the post notification bell. But if you've been following my channel, then you know I've talked about in some other videos the kind of personality that I have. Now, I'm not someone that is, how can I put this? I'm not the type of woman that will go out and initiate conversations all the time. I've learned to become more of a person like that, but that's not generally like my personality. Even when I was younger, like in school, for example, I'm not the person that would just run up and start conversations. Now, there are people that do that, and that's great, but I wasn't an outgoing person in that aspect. I'm the person that has a couple of close friends, and those are the people that I typically associate with. So being in an entrepreneurial role, it really has forced me in a way to get outside of my bubble and my comfort zone to interact with more people. And I found out that once I did it, I liked it. Sometimes I still find myself kind of guarded and not really wanting to get out and just initiate conversations sometimes. But then I have to remind myself that it's okay to do so. And that a lot of times I find benefits, I should say, in doing that. And a lot of people have sent me messages and also different comments under my videos in regards to the insight that I'm sharing and how it has benefited them. So I want to challenge all of you to interact in different groups and clubs. When I say groups, I'm referring to different like Facebook groups, different entrepreneur groups, different blogs. If you want to make sure that you're checking in with a vlog every so often. There's just different programs and different organizations out there that you can join to be a part of other like-minded people so that you can continue to keep your ideas flowing and fresh. If you can't think of any groups to join, another thing that you can do is just put yourself in conversation with other entrepreneurs. So I talk a lot about making sure that you have your network of resources, and I talk more about that on my YouTube channel than I do on my podcast. But I have built a network of resources. So I have different entrepreneurs in different fields that I can reach out to and ask different questions, and also get inspired by. Now, I'm going to make another podcast episode in the future. I've touched on this in the past as well. But I want to talk about going over the differences between inspiration and copying. I think that's just a really intriguing topic. And I was inspired to make a video or podcast like that from a post that I saw last year. But there is a difference between inspiration and just pure copying. I'm not saying create a network of resources so that you can copy if you don't have any other ideas. But I'm just saying someone, or having some people to be able to connect with to generate ideas and more inspiration is definitely helpful. When you close yourself in and you just bottle yourself into working on something, whether it's your business or a project by yourself, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying that sometimes you are going to hit those blocks, like those writer blocks or content creation blocks, and you're going to be like, okay, so what else do I need to do? And although you may want to go and talk to other family members and friends, a lot of times people that are not in the entrepreneurial realm will not understand where you're coming from. Like, they may not get the passion behind what you're doing. They may not understand why you need to come up with an idea like now, They may not even understand why you're doing what you're doing. They may not understand, why you're putting time into something if you're not going to get a guaranteed paycheck. A lot of people don't understand if they're not in that lifestyle. So I'm not saying you can't talk to anyone that's not an entrepreneur. I'm just saying that it really, really helps and it's beneficial if you talk to someone that is going through similar experiences that you're going through, or that has gone through similar experiences that you have gone through. So I really hope that this podcast episode helped. I really wanted to thank you all for tuning in again to the podcast. And I also wanted to shed light on what you can do when you are feeling discouraged. So again, I hope that this podcast helped and resonated with you all out there. If you do want to be a guest on the podcast, I'd love to have you. I truly would love to hear your journey, your story, and our family members and audiences listening, I'm sure would love to hear your story as well. This is another way to promote your business, and also share what you've gone through, inspire others, and motivate others. So if you'd like to be a guest on the Brittney Bundles podcast, please reach out to me. My email address is btalks, that is BTALKS, at yahoo.com. You can also follow me on YouTube at Brittney Bundles. That is Brittney, Brittney, Bundles, Bundles. I'm on Facebook, Brittney Bundles, Instagram, Brittney_Bundles, and Twitter, Brittney Bundles. Thank you all for listening again, and I will talk to you all in the next podcast episode.